Well, as we discussed today, I'm going to start multi-threading. So what multi-threading is? We talked about, right? Multi-threading is one of the very important topic of core Java. So before understand multi-threading, we should understand some fundamental of it. So first, we should understand the terminology, like what program is. Program, as we talked about, it is set of can you help me? It is set of instructions, right?
Yes.
Instructions. When this instruction is going to execute, this is called process. Process is a
Process.
program in execution. Program in execution is called process, right? Program in execution is called process. Every process has certain attribute, metadata with it, ID, stack, program counter, state of the process. We'll talk more detail about it. So if you talk about multi-threading, if you talk about multitasking, right?
Mm.
We are not talking about multi-threading, right? Multi-threading, I'll tell you. You need to understand what multi-threading is. I'm talking about multitasking. What is the multitasking? If you can perform more than tasks at the same time, it is called multitasking. So we use multitasking in our daily life or not? Yes, man. We, right, as a human being, always perform multitasking. Yes, when you are driving your car, right? Then what you do? You do multitasking. You may be driving your car. You may be, playing song, right? Listening song.
Mhm.
hmm Yeah, you may be doing
Watching,
many things all together.
driving,
Watching. Yeah, yeah. A lot of things you do at the same time. Similarly, if you talk about operating system perform multitask. But
multitasking.
how? Actually, they use concept of process, right? One task is performed by one process. Oh, so in multitasking, if you want to perform multiple tasks, how many processes you need, Ram?
Multiple process.
Multiple.
Multiple processes,
Multiple.
and all these processes are independent, right? You know,
Mhm.
they are not linked together. So in this concept, do you think one process can easily communicate with other process unless and until you apply some special technique? No.
No.
Inter-process communication is not easier, right? And one thing is clear: if you want to perform multiple tasks, you need multiple program. That's correct. And one program will create one process. Clear?
Clear?
Clear.
Now we need to understand what is the process is already we talked about. We need to understand what is the multitasking, right? That's clear, right? You see, this is another example of in multitasking. Do you know CPU perform one task? No, CPU can perform multiple tasks. But I'm telling you, ideally, one CPU. If you talk about only one core, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Nowadays, CPU comes with core. If I'm talking about one CPU with one core, tell me, CPU at a time do one job. Yes, Oh man,
Yes.
see, one CPU, one core perform only one task. You may be confused. Then how it is multitasking? What CPU does? CPU actually uses concept of context switching. What is the context switching? In context switching, the CPU spends some time, right, with this process, then switch to the other process, then third process and fourth process. Oh, and this switching is done very fast. Okay, what is it? This CPU context switching occurs very fast. So as a end user, you would be never feel your CPU is performing multiple tasks. You may be thinking CPU is spending dedicatedly time for you. Am I right? Hello.
Right.
So at a time, CPU can execute only one task. That's correct. But it does context switching like this. Can you see this? But this context switching is very fast, right? Feel
Mhm.
the CPU is only performing one task at a time. I hope you understand. Ideally, one CPU perform one task. Yes, at a time. But what concept in order to perform multitasking, what concept it uses?
Switching.
Context switching. I hope you understand this concept. But nowadays, we have CPU with how many core?
Multiple.
Multiple core, right?
Multiple cores.
Now we have CPU with multiple multiple core. It means how many tasks parallel your CPU can perform really. It depends on what, man?
How many?
Its number of core. And you can write some code and you can check how many CPU, how many core your CPU has. Got my point? Yeah. Hello. Anybody have any question query? No. Now question is, what is the thread? I hope you can see my slide. Hey
It's
guys, we are
logical.
spending time. Ask question.
Is
Please, somebody
threading one
can
like logical processing?
you come again?
It's a logical processing, right? Threading. It's,
Yeah, thread, let's understand. Actually, thread is a concept, right? What thread does, actually, process, right? Thread is the
yeah.
concept, right? Against the
Yes.
process, that's correct. But what thread does, I'll tell you, right? So thread is nothing, it's lightweight process. Oh my God. Process is a process, that's correct, but thread is lightweight process. Somebody saying something, that's correct, right?
It's not physical
So
process. It's a, like a logical process, right? Threading. Like even the quad core process can be like logically like
no, no,
eight core
no.
processor, right?
What do you mean by logical, right? It is a process. It is a process, but it's lightweight. You would say, right?
Okay.
Lightweight. Clear?
Okay.
What do you mean by
So
lightweight?
lightweight means one process can one thread can share, right, address or memory, a resource of parent, right? That's possible. But in process, it's not possible, right? Unless and until you some technique like web service. You know web service? Process means one program, right? One application. You can think like this. So one application can communicate with other application. Is directly, or you have to implement some special thing to make it possible. Any guess? You have
You
to
have to make
implement a
some
special thing,
special
right? That
process.
is, there are many things altogether to provide communication between two applications. You know it. Web service. Yep. Am I right? RMI. Yes. Enterprise Java Bean concept. EJB. Yes. You can use all this technique to provide communication between two different applications. So my friend, this is example of multitasking, right? So what is the multi-threading? Oh my dear friend, multi-threading is a technique. Nice. In multi-threading is a technique where one process can perform multiple tasks. Ram, you got confused? How one process can perform multiple tasks? Multi-threading is a technique where one process you can divide into number of threads, and one thread can perform one task. In this way, you can achieve multitasking. Nice, using multi-threading also. But in multi-threading, how many threads, how many processes are involved? Ram, this question goes to you.
Yes, sir.
See,
Uh,
in normal multitasking, you need multiple program, but in
right.
multi-threading, one program can perform multiple tasks. How? By dividing into one program into number of thread, and one thread can perform one individual task. Nice. So do you understand difference between multi-threading and normal multitasking? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Multitasking you can implement both the way. You can use multi-process as we talked about. You can use multi-threading, but in thread, what difference is? Only one process involved in perform multiple tasks. So you can see multi-threading is a technique in Java. Using that, we can perform multiple tasks by dividing our process into number of threads. One thread can perform an independent task. Anybody have any question
You're saying
query?
that one thread in multi-threading can perform multitask
No. I'm not saying that. One process.
One
One
thread
thread
can
can
process
process
only
only
one,
one,
but
but
only.
multi-threading
Multi.
process multiple thread.
See, I said in multi-threading, there would be one process, and that process
Mhm.
can perform multiple tasks. How? One process in multi-threading can be divided into number of threads, and one thread can perform one task. In this way, you can perform multitasking using are you confused, Vishal?
Yeah, a little bit confused. Yeah.
Why you confused? In normally, suppose you want to perform multiple tasks, video playing, music, browsing, running
Uh-huh.
Java application. So how many process you need? Multiple process, because one
Multiple
process can
process,
perform one task.
one
But
task.
in Java, you see,
Uh-huh.
there is a JVM only one process. And
One
using
process.
multi-threading, we can perform multiple tasks. Oh, nice. So in multi-threading, one process also can perform multiple tasks. How? You have to
Mm-hmm.
implement,
Thread.
Vishal,
Threading.
you have to implement multi-threading, thread. That's correct. Now you got it? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
using multi-threading it is possible to perform multiple tasks using single process as well. Also, how? In this technique, one process can be divided into number of thread and one thread can perform one task. You got it?
Yeah.
But in process, all the processes are independent. They cannot communicate to each other unless and until you implement some special technique to it to communicate. But here you see all threads, here and they can communicate to each other. Vishal,
Mm-hmm.
in multi-threading, whatever thread are there, they can communicate to each other, right? So inter-process communication is easier in case of
Multi-threading.
multi-threading. So we have two kind of thread. One is called kernel thread. Kernel thread is managed by operating system. Whenever I say kernel thread, it is managed by operating system. What is the green thread? Green thread is managed by the programmer. Are you with me? So thread is created at
Mm-hmm.
two level, operating system level and programming level. So when you create a thread at programming level, that is called a green thread. Make sense? Every thread has
Yeah.
normally has high ID, name of ID of the thread, name of the thread, program counter. Yeah, what is a program counter? Program counter is a flag which points current instruction to be executed, right? There may be many instructions altogether in your program. So program counter will tell you which instruction is currently being executed. Java stack, it is a temporary memory which is occupied or used by particular thread. I don't know you guys are following me or not.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Yes, Nagin.
Nagin.
Yes.
What is TLS, or thread local storage?
TLS, thread
Yeah, I think that's also used in multi-threading. So it's a local storage, thread
no,
local
this is I
storage.
think no thread local. No thread local. We we can check it. Okay, not a problem. Thread is an Java object. That's correct. Yes, thread object is represented with thread class in Java. Oh my God! If you get a thread in Java, how you can refer it, Ram? Thread class. Hello. In Java, thread is an object, and you have to mug certain thing. Ram. Every method is called by thread. Nice. What is it?
Every
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 method is
method
method
in
called
is
by
called
thread.
Java,
by thread.
thread. Please remember it. Mug it. And in
Thread is
Java,
also
we
called as
have
class.
So we don't have
yeah.
to.
Thread is
It's already inbuilt class, right? Then
yeah. Thread is inbuilt class and it is present in default package java.lang.
so it is
I'll show
managed.
you.
So we don't have to do anything that the Java does do automatically.
Yeah. See, uh, you know your Java program. Yeah. So question is in Java, if you want to run your program, you need main method. Question is who call main method? Main method is called by JVM. And in order to call the main method, JVM creates a thread that is called main thread. And main thread calls main. Oh, nice. I told you, right? Every method is called by thread. Man, you got my point or you got totally confused?
I get
Hello?
it.
Every method is called by thread. Who called the main method? Main method
JVM.
is called by JVM.
JVM.
So let me tell you again. Who calls the main method? Your answer should be main thread. And who creates main thread? JVM.
JVM.
So if somebody asks who calls main method, your answer should be main is called by main thread and main thread main thread is created by Java virtual machine. And I'm telling you, we have two category of the thread, daemon thread and non-daemon thread. I'll tell you what is the meaning of daemon and non-daemon. Main is non-daemon thread. Please mark it. What is it? Main thread is daemon, non-daemon.
Non-daemon.
So here you can see main thread is special thread created by Java virtual machine and it is a non-daemon thread. And this thread calls your main method, right? So if you want to know in your program who is calling your main method, what you need to do, I'm going to show you. Ram, what I'm going to show you? I'm going to
Who's
show you
calling our main method?
who is going to call your main method. I'm going to show you. So multi-threading, I can teach you anywhere. I'm going to make a lot of programs for you, right? Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, if you don't understand, you let me know because I'm spending time and I want you should say at the end of the session, I'm very good in multi-threading. Hmm? Yeah. So you want to know who is calling main method, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
tell me main is called by
Oh,
main thread. Main is called by who? Who calls main method, right? Answer is
thread, main
main
thread.
thread. And
What is
who
main
creates
thread?
main thread?
JVM?
It is it is created by JVM. And it is daemon and non-daemon thread. Answer is non-daemon thread. Please remember it.
What is daemon and non-daemon?
Yeah, I said I'll explain to you, right?
Okay.
Daemon and non-daemon. I'll explain to you. So you really wants to know who is calling main method. So you have to write this line: thread dot current thread. This will give you the information about the method thread who calls main method. And every thread in Java is represented by thread class. You got a point?
Main. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to print the name of the thread, so you can do t dot get name, get ID. I'm printing the ID of it. Then I'm printing the name of it, name of the calling thread. Then you can print the it state, right? You can create. There is many things. You can also print its priority. I don't know. You got this much? Or I make you confused.
Mm.
You got it.
Please
Where
reply. Hmm.
where it is declared by, like say you said ID, name, status, right?
This is everything is managed by the Java virtual machine. When JVM creates a main thread, then it's assign ID, name, status to it. Right? Status means what is the current status of your main thread. Every method is called by a thread. Please mark it. Every method in Java
Is called by.
is called by a thread. Yes, that's true. Let's run it, please. Ram, I need your help. Just
Yes,
you,
sir.
you tell me. I'm going to run it. Actually, many programs are running. I'm going to stop it. Let's run it again. After the session, I want you should say I know multi-threading. Okay. See, Ram, ID of main thread is one. Name, main, you know it.
Mm.
It is in runnable state. That's it. So what is the ID of main thread? One. It is always one. ID you can't change it. Name you can change it, right? But ID you can't
Yes.
change it. Suppose you want to change the name of the thread, you can do t dot set name.
Set name
So
and
you
get
are,
name.
yeah, Nagendra. So main thread name was initially name or a main. What I did just now, I just make it Nagendra. ID and all, you cannot change it. No, that's correct. You got this much?
Yes.
Anybody have any confusion? No. In
No.
Java, every thread is represented by thread class. Every thread is an object of thread. And if you want to know who is calling in method, who is calling the method, you can use this statement to get the calling thread reference. Then you can print its metadata. Nice. So next thing which I'm going to teach you is Ram. What? How to create a thread in Java. And you know why we need thread? I can give you many example. Ram, you have to download 20 files from a remote machine. So you will download one by one, or you will create a multiple thread and which can perform multiple parallel downloading process. Which one is will be faster? Any guess?
I think
No, I'm saying if you want to download 10 file from the remote machine, you will download it parallel or you will download one by one. Which will be faster? Parallel downloading
One
is
by
faster.
one.
parallel.
No, one
Parallel.
by one will take time, man. You tell me on the internet, right? In browsing, when you want to download the file, you download one by one, or you start parallel downloading.
Parallel,
Parallel.
but it depends on the speed, no?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you have speed, man. You always have speed, right? I'm talking about nowadays. Hello. Even
Day
speed is
one.
slower, right? Parallel downloading is always faster. Sometime it may be, but always is faster, I would say. Hmm. What I'm going to teach you, I'm going to create a two thread, right? One thread will say good morning, second one will say good evening. Hello. So
Yeah.
can you help me to create a
Yeah.
thread in Java? You can create thread in two ways. First approach of creating thread is Vishal, help me. So I'm going to create a Java. You tell me this will perform this perform only one execution, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
parallel execution, right? One by one, line by line. Yes, you know. Today I'm
Yes.
going to create a multiple thread in Java. In Java, you can create a thread in two ways using a thread class and implementing runnable interface. Please deploy. How many ways you can create a thread in Java?
Two
In
ways.
two ways.
Extending thread class and implementing runnable interface.
Runnable.
So I'm going to show you both. See, you can implement runnable interface and extend thread class. So can you help me? My first thread is going to do what? Vishal. The name could be anything. I'm just making Vishal thread. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, I want to make a thread. This is not thread. Tell me, this is thread, Vishal? This
No.
is thread. Answer is no. If your name is thread, that does not mean you are thread. You have to add feature of thread.
Extend.
Now
Runnable.
it is thread. You have to
Okay.
extend thread. Thread is present in java.lang package. So no need to
Uh-huh.
import that package. Java.lang package. What is the specialty of java.lang package? It is a special package which is implicitly imported in every classes, right? Java.lang is a special package which is implicitly imported in all the classes. In thread, you have a method that is called run method. You have to just override it. So what your job you want to do against this thread, override it. Vishal.
Public void
Which,
run.
uh, this is the special method which you have to override. And whatever you want to do against this thread, write it. What I want to do here, I want to perform
For
one statement 1,000 times. Ram, you got a point?
mm,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
So I want to say here system.out.println. Hey, and you can do anything, man. Hey, this is Shal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here you can write discount. Please, if there is any confusion, let me know. I'll help you. Hmm? Basically, I want to show you parallel execution, Vishal, right? Parallel execution. So this is one thread, second thread, I'm going to make it. So you can make a new class that is called RAM thread. So two classes created, one for RAM thread, second one is Vishal thread. So here, hey, this is RAM. Read me? Hmm. You
Yes,
can do
sir.
other stuff also. So both are going to execute, but one by one or parallel. You have to make it, right? So
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
one
going to
thread
make
we
a
have
main class. Pardon?
for one class we have to create for one thread we have to create one class.
Yeah. Answer is yes and no. Using one class, you can also create a multiple thread. It is up to you. But you know what is the problem? If you are
Mhm.
creating a multiple thread with one class, so that will perform same task, right? In nature. Yes, you know.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But if you want to perform different task, right, then you have to create a new class. I hope I'm making myself clear.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Good question. Anyway, I'm going to make a main class. Main thread, eh, thread example. Please.
Yeah, example man. Okay,
The here I have to write main method. So main is a thread. That's correct.
correct.
I am main thread. That's correct, right? And here you can say this is end of the main thread. This is end of the main thread. I hope I'm making myself clear. Yeah. After that, see, you main thread is there already, right? So you have to make two more thread, Vishal. To make the object of Vishal thread, you have to just make the object of it, right? Hello.
New thread.
Then you can make a object of Ram thread also. So the here right now, how many threads are there total? Three
Two.
threads.
Two thread.
Three. One is main thread who calls your main method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we have two thread. One is main. One is the thread who calls main method. You forget it.
Uh-huh.
First thread
Yeah.
which calls
Main.
main method. Oh, who creates the main method? JVM.
JVM.
I'm sorry. Who creates main thread?
JVM. Java
JVM
Virtual Machine
creates main thread. Answer is JVM. Who's creating Vishal thread and Ram thread? Programmer,
programmer.
right?
That's
JVM. And below threads are these are created by programmer. I hope you understand. I make you confused.
You
Hello.
understand?
Okay.
Understanding.
This is created by programmer. That's fine. See. If you want to run this thread, if you call directly run method Ram, because every thread has a run method. Already we talked about. Yes, you know.
Yes.
mm-hmm.
So if you create a thread like this, you know what is the problem? This is not going to run as a thread, Vishal.
Mm-hmm.
Main thread will run and it will call run method and run method. Both will run sequential fashion. First of all, Vishal will complete, then Ram thread will come in the picture. So it is not a multi-threading, Vishal. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Here, Vishal is executing first completely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to implement multi-threading, but it is not acting as a multi-threading. Can you see this? First of all, Vishal is executing completely 1,000 times, then Ram is coming in the picture. So this example of multi-threading? No. Why? Because in multi-threading, you are not supposed to call run method. If you call run method directly, Vishal, then it is
Mm-hmm.
acting as a sequential execution. So if you want to start Vishal thread and Ram thread as a thread, what you have to do? You have to call the start method, and start method is present in the parent class. Where is this method is? It is not here. It will come from the thread class. So why I'm calling run method, start method. Why I'm calling
To
start
execute
method.
parallelly.
Yeah, your answer should be why I'm calling start method to start it as a thread.
Parallel.
As a thread means parallel. That's correct, right? So we should not call run method. If you call run method directly, it will work as a
Sequential.
normal. Yeah, it will work sequentially and it will work as a normal method, not as a thread. Got my point? When you call
Right.
start method, Vishal, you are calling start method of thread, and that thread start method internally calls run method after creating
Run
the thread.
method.
So now you will see the parallel execution. Honestly, I'm telling you. You tell me this statement, right? Will execute once Vishal and Ram will completely execute it, and this will also execute parallel. Tell
parallel.
me.
This will also execute parallel.
This will also execute parallel. Now let's see the magic of it. This is going to execute only 901. That's it. Y plus plus. Mhm. Hello. So tell me,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to execute. All three will execute parallel. Let me run it. If you understand, you have to say I understand. Can you see the output of it?
Mm-hmm.
Vishal. Now things are
Mm-hmm.
mingled. In screen, right? It is not able to accommodate this much data. I am going to make it smaller. Let's make it only 500.
100.
Yeah, you can make 100 also. No problem. 500 should be accommodated, I guess. Not a problem. Or you can screen the Eclipse buffer size. That's possible. So now what you see, you would see, I'm telling you, if you know this much, you can say I know multi-threading. Vishal,
Mm-hmm.
I'm main thread, right? This is end
Mm-hmm.
of the main thread. See, even though you
Mm-hmm.
have started your thread over here, right? But main is able to execute this line. Can you see this? This is end
Uh-huh.
of the main thread, right? Then this is end of the then Vishal executes, right? Then again
Mm-hmm.
main comes. Again Ram execute. See? Then main thread executes. You see the switching? Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, in multi-threading, you cannot predict the output. If you run it, this pattern, and if you run again, it will show a different pattern. In multi-threading, your program output will be always changing. You cannot predict the output in multi-threading. Vishal. Yeah, because you do not have any control on it. Do you understand or you got confused?
Understand.
So, how to create a thread is easy. You have to extend thread class, right?
Third class.
So you tell me, here I am creating two objects. So unless and until you start, thread will not come in the picture. So here I am starting thread one first, Vishal and Ram. So who will execute first, Ram or Vishal? Answer is
If you
Vishal.
say start, then it will execute parallelly. If you say run, it will start
yeah, yeah. But when
sequentially.
you start it, right? You cannot say I am starting Vishal first, then Vishal will execute first. No, you cannot give the
It
guarantee.
will start main first.
Main will execute first because main is started by the Java virtual machine main thread and other thread, right? Other thread, when you start it, you are not sure who will execute first. Like here I am starting Vishal first, but you see the output, Vishal, who execute first?
Uh-huh.
Ram.
Run.
So it doesn't mean in thread, it doesn't, if you are starting multiple thread, which thread will execute first? Nobody knows. It depends
Nobody
on
knows.
JVM thread scheduler. Because when you start your thread, it goes in the ready state. When your thread is ready state, it will be picked up by the thread scheduler, JVM thread scheduler. I hope I'm making myself clear. So in
Yes, sir.
multi-threading, normally you cannot predict the output of it. So this is the first approach of creating the thread. I am going to show you the second approach of creating the thread. Allow me.
Guys,
I'm going to I'm going to make the thread using runnable. So runnable A. So what you have to do, instead of extending thread class, you can
extend,
implement runnable. Like when you
extend, extend.
yeah, like here, when please help me for
I.
integer. This is not threadman because it is not extending thread class. It is just implementing runnable interface and runnable interface is functional interface. RAM. This is
Mhm.
not thread. Answer
This
it
is your
because
functional interface.
this is not thread. Answer is yes. This is just task. Yes. Oh man, this is not thread. It is just task. Task means it's just simple having business logic. Please reply if you are following me. So I'm just
Yes.
making task. Oh nice. Here it's saying
So Dex.
GM is good morning is good morning. GM is GM equals to X equals to plus one. Vishal, you got my point? I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
creating the task, right? I
Yeah.
want to show you the approach of runnable. Similarly, you can make a B. It's saying GM and second the second would say good evening.
G.
G. Done. Now we have two tasks, not two thread. Runnable A, runnable B, two tasks. Using these two tasks, let's implement the multi-threading. The runnable
Man.
main.
Main method. Main class.
So same fashion, aim main. Let's make it little bit faster.
Running.
Runnable.
Please help me, right? Like here, instead of making this right, I have to make a object of
Runnable.
Runnable
runnable
A
Main.
and
A.
runnable B.
Nice, nice, my friend. This is another approach of creating thread. This is not thread. This is just task, right? This is just task. So above is just task. You are with me? Above is just task. And if I want to make it thread, you have to wrap into thread object. Vishal, manually you have to wrap
Mm-hmm.
it. Earlier you were
Okay.
extending the thread, right? You can make an object and you can start it. But here
Mm-hmm.
you cannot do it. Here you have to wrap it inside thread like this. You have to make an object of thread and
Running
in
A.
this constructor pass the task.
Pass the task.
So this is
Got
just avoid this task here, passing these tasks side
Like hard coding, right?
constructor of, yeah, constructor of thread class. So now runnable is a part of thread A, thread T1, and runnable B is a part of. See, it was just task. You cannot run as a thread. Now after wrapping it, you can do it. After
Event
passing
dot
the
start.
constructor, you can do it. Oh,
Mhm.
nice. So this is just two approach of creating the thread. If you run it, if you start it, it will run in the parallel execution. Vishal. So this is just
Mhm.
two approach, man. You would say, first of all, main is executing. Can you see this? Main is able
Mhm.
to execute 6 times. Then GMG, right? Parallel execution. So what is the difference,
GMG.
Vishal? Difference is here we are implementing runnable. Then
Runnable.
you are creating an object of thread, and in this
Passing
constructor you
inside
are
the
passing your task and you are
constructor.
starting it. In first approach, you are extending thread directly.
Thread class.
So these are two approach of creating thread. So which one seems to be simple? Thread extending thread
Thread
class or
class.
implementing runnable?
Extending thread class is simple.
Extending thread. But I'm telling you, as a Java programmer, because of one or two line, you cannot say which one is better. Runnable is better, I would say. Why? Because in runnable, you are not extending thread class. So this is just a task. Are you following me? It is not a thread.
Mhm.
So normally, as per the design, right? So multi-threading behavior and your business logic should be separate. In this is not task, right? This is not a thread. It is just task, right? So your task is
Mhm.
loosely coupled. It is not, extending the thread class. Are you following me? So as per the design, your logic and multi-threading behavior should be separately. So this implement the same. So which one is the better approach? Implementing runnable or extending thread class? Implementing runnable. This is the first benefit of it. Second benefit, Ram, if your class extend a class, if your thread extend a class, it cannot extend another class. That limitation is. Yes, you know. My requirement is I
Yes.
want to make this as a thread as well as I want to extend another class. I cannot do over here because Java does not support
multiple
Multiple
extend.
class. Extend
multiple
class.
inheritance, right? You cannot extend, but here you are implementing runnable, so you have an opportunity to extend some other class. Say yes, you can do it, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So in this way, which one is better, extending thread or implementing runnable?
Implementing runnable.
Yeah. Another reason is if you want to serialize your task in this approach, right? If you serialize this task, it will serialize the thread class also. Say yes. But if you serialize this task, right? We do not have anything coming from the thread, right? So which one is which one is good to serialize? Runnable task, right? This is called runnable task. Why, man? I'm going to use this terminology. This is called runnable task.
Runnable
Why?
task.
Because this task is created by implementing runnable interface. Got my point?
Mhm.
So just wanted to know whatever I have taught you so far. You really understand or not?
Yes, sir.
So guys, I think this is enough for today. And honestly, I'm telling you to teach you. You know what I'm saying? In this
At
session,
last, can
I
you
think
explain?
it is enough because I explain you what thread is, what are the different approach of creating thread, what is the main thread, what right, and we just talked about daemon, non-daemon, but I will give you other thing also. So far we have done just 10% of it, right? But still we have to learn many things altogether. I'm telling you, this will really help you to understand in enterprise based application, what threads are, where threads are created, how they are coordinating to each other, right? So still there are a lot
Mhm.
of terminology to discuss. So we'll talk on that. So guys, I'm just wrapping this session only so far, and in next session we'll cover next topic. Thank you so much.